Hi, Dorcas here. This is a video aimed at facilitators who are going to be using this template, so the link will be in the description of this video if you don't have it already. So when you click the link, you'll be brought here and then you'll click Create Mural from Template. So click Create Mural from Template, add it to whatever room you want. I'm just going to add it to that room, the defaults. Give it a name, so I'm going to call this, for example, Team 1, because I'm going to be making a different mural for each team. Once I have that named, I can just then duplicate the mural, and let's say I'm going to call this Team 2. Usually I put in more useful information for myself, but at least that's how to do that bit. So once you have the mural, the way it's designed is that you turn on and off areas. So what I do is I leave the welcome open, and you can see when I hover over the way these little eyes are there, I'm going to hide certain sections. Like this. So for example, if I give you this link, and by you I mean, for example, now you're a participant in my design sprint, I'm going to share, click visitor link, copy the link, send it to you. You'll be able to edit it. You won't have as much control over it as I do, because I'm the facilitator, or whoever created it. You're the facilitator by default. Other people are visitors. So it's just to show you these different things. In the outline, you can click on a different section and it'll bring you to each place. So there is just the welcome. The next section, let's just let these viewable now. The next section, this is or maybe I'm going a little bit backwards. So first of all, if you're giving them pre-course work, then you'll leave it like this. Send out the link to them. And you can see the first thing, design sprint. That's going to be here. So let's zoom in here. It says create a post-it, put your name on it, choose a color. There's a little picture of how to do so. So for example, I'm one person in the group. Dorcas is my name. I'm going to choose, let's say, whatever, this color. Someone else is going to come in, and this person's name is John, and John's going to choose blue. The idea is that in future, for all of the rest of our sprint, John's going to use this colour, Dorcas will use this colour, so we'll be more easily able to find or identify our post. So when I see, for example, a pink post-it, I'll know that that's from Jane, and I can say to Jane, tell me more about this post-it, it looks really interesting. So that's the first part. Next part is we go to the empathy, and this is where if you've asked your participants to do the empathy stage in advance, you can see this is where they add in their empathy, so they can just, yourself add in post-its, they can add in whatever pictures, insights, the usual mural stuff. So that's the pre-course work, optional. Now we're going to go and start our day. So there's kind of an icebreaker or a warm-up, and you can see here you can click to find the right area. For example, if I was, let's say, over here, I would just click warm up and it would bring me to the right area. So what happens is you explain to people when they're in the main room, we're going to put you into a breakout room. You're going to meet the other members of your team. What we want you to do is chat to each other within the team, and then you're going to make a team sketch. The sketch shouldn't be about likeness, but it should include something about each other's personality. So for example, when I am sketching you, I might not just draw your long hair and your glasses. I might also draw you holding a paintbrush because you love painting or something like this. People can draw any way they want. Over on the left hand side, there's different icons for them to be able to draw. Or they can add in pictures, but the idea is it's just getting them used to Mural. I'll show you an example of one done by another group previously here. So once they've done the team sketch, the idea is that they have a bit of a laugh, get to know each other a little bit, then they're going to come up with a team name, and they just write in their team name there. Now come back to the main room, and they're going to present to the rest of the class their team sketch and their team name. To make this bit go a little bit faster, you might be the person who, shows each one. Usually what I would do is I'd have all the tabs up here. I'd have team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4, team 5, so I can just easily click through each one. So now you've presented, now you're going to move into design thinking. You've explained design thinking and explained the challenge and so on. If this isn't done already, you get them to do this. So each person adds in a post-it with their name and chooses their colour, just making sure each colour is different. empathy stage, add in the different empathy, things that you want, yourselves, how to add in post-its. Now they come back to the main room, and now you're going to explain to them about the next stage, which is defining. And you can see I'm unlocking these. Now, if you were a bit nervous around Mural, or if you weren't as, click happy as I am, you might decide to leave everything visible so that participants just see everything, and you just tell them not to move on. I'm using this functionality here, let's say. So, of course, you're giving yourself more work, because now I need to click into each of the tabs that I have open at the top, and I need to remember to make these parts visible for the next part. Whatever you decide to do, this section here is define. So this is where they're coming up with their define or point of view statement. And for example, they all might decide, let's all do one each. Let's have keep our notes or our scribbles or our different thoughts here. So they're going to do that here. And then the final define statement, that's when they write their one point of view statement here. So they're going to have it nice and big. The idea is that it'll fill the box so that everyone kind of knows that everything from then on hinges on this statement. So this is their or their initial work on define. You might have the final statement there and just literally just drag it up here and have it nice and big. Bring them back to the main room, explain the ideate stage, send them back into the breakout rooms to do the ideate stage, remembering to unlock or make this, what's the word I'm looking for, to make this visible. Ideate, same thing as before, post-its and so on. Next, prototype. In this section here, you can see that the instructions I have is this area is an optional section. You might decide to ignore the section completely and use other resources or role play. So depending on their prototype, they may use this for the actual prototype. They might just use it for notes, or they can ignore it altogether. This is the only section that they don't have to fill in if they don't want to. Or you could change that and say they have to use this. But, we like to give them a bit of freedom in terms of their prototype, making the most suitable prototype. And then finally, the test. So depending on your session, you may or may not have time to do this. And actually, by the time you're watching this video, these boxes might be different, because I'm thinking I'm going to change these into something like what worked well, what worked less well, and maybe just have two different, like a positive and a negative kind of thing in here. Either way, there's two ways to use this. One is, for example, in class, you can send the groups back to their breakout rooms and discuss how they think they did, and they fill it in about themselves. Or probably how we're going to use it for the first time using this board with the EPA. We have a very short day and they want real results. So what we're thinking of doing is actually sending them off with this as homework. So we're going to give the link to every board to every person, and they're going to give feedback to the other groups in terms of, the positive or the negative. And as I say, there'll be nicer boxes there, but the usual, they just add in a post-it about what they think worked well, or whatever is the answer to that question. That is all. Finally, just in case you want to know, as a facilitator, you can export. So you can, for example, download a PDF of this if they wanted this for later. Obviously, the PDF is static, whereas the link will, stay live, and it could be changed and so on. One thing I just forgot to mention was the ideate. I use this, but I just have it there in case they want to use it, but I probably won't explain it just because of time. You don't have a lot of time to explain things. As you can see, this is a really simple board for a design sprint. But the idea is that you can see there's 5 people in the team. Each person gets a vote. So this is the only movable thing on this template, as in everything else is locked in place. But here, for example, let's pretend this here is an idea and this is another idea. I get 2 votes, so I'm going to drag this here and this here onto my 2 favorite ideas. They probably won't even use it, but it's just there as a just in case. And as I say, you can decide if you want to explain it. I probably won't, just due to time. If I had a longer day, then I might explain it a bit better. Any questions? You know how to get me. Thank you. Oh, or by the way, feedback as well, if you have any ideas on how to make it better. And by the way, there are other similar templates to this mural for longer sprints and, for like week-long sprints and so on that are a bit more fancy or complicated. Thank you.